Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So the big question is, what are going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signings? Of course, he recommended, three good players in throughout the course in the summer. We spent over £140 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka, and of course on Harry Maguire. And we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. Obviously you've got Daniel James at just the age of 21. You've got Wan-Bissaka at just the age of 21, and of course you've got Harry Maguire, who's obviously more experience. He's 26 years of age. But I think Solskjaer brought three good new additions to the squad, throughout the course of the summer. So in that aspect, it was good that we did address some of the problematic areas, but we didn't address all the problematic areas. And I did say, it was going to be extremely, difficult for us, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. And you can quite frankly say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. This is why some people are saying, maybe he does need to be given time. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he maybe needs time, to make further investment in January, maybe perhaps next summer as well. But I've been very, very impressed so far with our signings. Daniel James, I think he's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. I still say he's a prospect and needs time to develop, but he's had a fantastic start to this season as Daniel James. Scoring 3 goals already, and I think he's replicating now at Manchester United. What he did last season with Swansea, and I did say he'd taken a huge step in his career. Coming away from the Championship, to the Premier League. But I've been very, very impressed there with Daniel James, and I think we got him for a reasonable figure. We paid around £18 million for him. Well, it was £15 million. There was add-ons included, which did potentially rise up to £18 million. And with Wan-Bissaka, like I said, I think he's been fantastic. His distribution's really, really good, and he's got all the ingredients required, to become a huge success at Manchester United. And I think he can emulate into like a Gary Neville, and I think Wan-Bissaka, can be our fullback for the next decade. And like I said, with Harry Maguire, maybe the club, did overpay for him a little bit. We paid around £80 million for him. Obviously, he's the most expensive defender in the world. Obviously, he's our second most expensive signing. But I did say at this day and age, in these markets, you've got to overpay for players. And anywhere we've got history of spending big on players and overpaying for players. And obviously, we've got big players on big contracts. But like I did say, in this aspect, it's bad business for Manchester United, overpaying for players and then letting them go basically for next to nothing. And that's been, Man United do that, and it's been proven, quite recently that we do that. Obviously, Ander Herrera left earlier on in the summer. We paid £30 million to him from Atletico Bilbao back in 2014, and he did have 5 successful years with Manchester United. But then obviously we let him go on a free transfer earlier on in the summer. Obviously, Dam, we let him go for just over £3 million. We initially, paid just over £12 million from Torino back in 2015. So they're obviously prime examples of what we do. But like I did say, definitely no further more investment is needed in the squad. So like I did say at the start of the video, who do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signings will be? So we was in for quite a lot of players throughout the course of the summer transfer window and that. And I did say with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, I think in that aspect it went against us in the summer transfer window of getting all the players that we did want to recommend in. Obviously I think the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer, it's more than likely we will reignite our interest in them in January. There was a lot of players went in for throughout the course of summer. Don't forget, Bruno Fernandes, was one of our main priority targets throughout the course of summer, and our opportunity was there basically, to get Bruno Fernandes. But obviously, we didn't get a deal over the line for him. And I would have been excited about the prospects of Bruno Fernandes, playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think they would have complemented each other, fantastically well. Recent reports indicated out he was on the verge of joining Real Madrid for around £64 million. I haven't read up about it quite lately, but it's looking like we're not going to get Bruno Fernandes in January. But there was a lot of players we went in for throughout the course of the summer. Don't forget, we inquired about getting Dybala in. Obviously we inquired about getting Mandzukic in, even though the board had reservations about winning Mandzukic in. Obviously, reflecting on his age. Because he's 33 years of age, is Mandzukic. So there was a lot of targets on our agenda, throughout the course of the summer. But I think Solskjaer throughout the course of summer, was talking about our recruitment policy, and analysing our recruitment policy, isn't too good. Prior to this summer transfer window, we haven't been competitive enough in the last 2 to 3 windows. We didn't get anyone in January. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, we didn't get our number 1 targets. But definitely no further more investment is needed in that in the squad. So for me, I think possibly our next signing, you know, could be Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. He could be one of the signings. Obviously, you know, we was in for him, you know, Jadon Sancho earlier on in the summer. You know, also we identified Jadon Sancho as our #1 priority target back in the January transfer window. But like I did say, I think our move got screwed for Jadon Sancho, you know, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, and that went against us getting Jadon Sancho. Don't forget, reports came out about 3 weeks ago saying that Jadon Sancho is set to leave Borussia Dortmund next summer, so we probably won't get him in January, but we have got a chance of getting him next summer, and that's providing we can qualify for the Champions League this season. But Jadon Sancho, I think, you know, he's a very, very good player. You know, he's still very, very young. I think maybe in January or next summer, you know, will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, still be looking to sign, you know, young homegrown players, because obviously he did work out his transfer strategy early on in the summer, and he did say, you know, he wanted to sign, you know, young upcoming British players. Did Solskjaer, and obviously, you know, he did do that and that. But Jadon Sancho is obviously English. You know, he's only 19 years of age, and obviously he's predominantly a right winger. I think he can play him centrally, but he's predominantly a right winger. And don't forget, throughout the course of the summer, you know, was in search for a right winger. And I would be excited about the prospects of Jadon Sancho, you know, playing alongside the likes of Martial, Rashford, and, you know, Daniel James and that in our attacking line. And I think they complement each other, a lot of them and that. And Jadon Sancho's had 2 good seasons with Borussia Dortmund. You know, now he's in his 3rd season as a Borussia Dortmund player. Obviously, he's under contract with them until 2022. And I think he's made like over 60 first team appearances for Dortmund. But a very, very good player indeed. But like I said, only 19 years of age. I think, you know, if we are to go in for him next summer, you know, he will cost the club a substantial amount of money. You know, I think he'll cost us in the excess of around £100 million. But obviously, you know, we've got the financial power, you know, to meet that valuation. Don't forget, it's also beneficial as well, because Jadon Sancho's also had experience of playing in the Premier League. Don't forget, you know, before he went to Dortmund, he had a couple of years with Manchester City. But Jadon Sancho never really got the opportunity as a Manchester City player. This is the main reason why, you know, he left Manchester City, because he was never, you know, assured, you know, to get into the first team and that. But I'd love Jadon Sancho, you know, to come in next summer, but he's going to cost the club a substantial amount. But he did say back in January, you know, he would cost us around £100 million. Don't forget, throughout the course of the summer as well, you know, was it in for James Maddison? Obviously, we was only tentatively linked with you know, James Maddison. You know, he wasn't one of our main priority targets, but at one point throughout the course of the summer, you know, we did inquire about getting James Maddison. Obviously, James Maddison is predominantly an attacking midfielder and that. I think with Leicester last season, obviously, as you all know, he created the most chances. I think he must have created around 100 chances. You know, James Maddison's only 22 years of age. Obviously, now he's heading into his second, well, he's in his 2nd season now as a Leicester player. Obviously, you know, Leicester did get him last summer from Norwich. For around, was it £20 million? I think he's under contract with Leicester until 2023. But James Maddison did have a good couple of years with Norwich. I think he began his career with Coventry when he was younger. There was a lot of teams in for him then. I think he also had a loan spell in Scotland with Aberdeen, did James Maddison. I think he's made about 40 appearances in the Premier League for Leicester. But we was tentatively linked with him, you know, throughout the course of the summer. And I did say, you know, that midfield area is one of the priority areas, of course, where Manchester United do need to strengthen up. And I'm infuriated that, you know, we failed to get a midfielder in, you know, throughout the course of the summer and that, because I did say we need someone that can play alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield. So I have got a lot of element of concerns about our midfield. Don't forget, throughout the course of the summer as well, you know, we was in for Declan Rice. Again, wasn't one of our main priority targets. Obviously, Declan Rice, I think, is primarily a defensive midfielder, but can also operate as a centre-back. He's only 20 years of age, is Declan Rice. We did go in for him, I think, throughout the course of the summer. He did initially say, it quoted out that we would have to pay around £50 million for his services, you know, to get him. Obviously, he's got a long-term contract with West Ham that he did sign last year, and he's under contract, I think, with West Ham until 2024. He's Declan Rice, well Premier League proven. Initially learned his trade in the Premier League, and I think he's been at West Ham now a number of years. He's been in their senior squad a couple of years. Don't forget, you know, before he was at West Ham, he was at Chelsea. I don't think he ever got into the first team with Chelsea. Obviously spent about 7 years in their youth academy and that. But obviously I think he got axed off. I think back, was it in 2000? I think he got axed off after he served 7 years in the youth academy with Chelsea. But yeah, we also, you know, went in for Declan Rice. But it's very, very imperative indeed that we do, you know, get that midfielder in, of course, that we do want in the January transfer window. But Solskjaer said early on this summer that he wanted to bring, you know, at least 5 new additions to the squad. We only end up getting 3 players in. So I'm happy that we got that experienced centre half. You know, I'm happy that we got that right back in that. But I'm just ashamed, you know, that we didn't get anyone in that midfield and that. But like I did say, so far this season, you know, we've enjoyed a very, very difficult start to the season. You know, we've only registered 5 points from a possible 12. You know, we've won one game, drawn 2, and of course lost 1. And I can already see the problem. Well, the problems were there last season. I think, you know, this season's replicating last season. You know, it's not like we're playing too bad. You know, like Gary Neville was giving his overarching view on the situation with Man United at the moment. You know, he believes we're on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You know, he believes that we seem to be playing the right way. The style of it's right, but he just says, you know, we haven't got that clinical element, so we just need to be more clinical in front of goal, because we are actually, you know, creating chances, but we're just not scoring enough goals. We've only managed 7 goals so far in the league in 4 games. And we still seem to be, you know, conceding goals. That seems to be another problem. But like I said, last season was a huge disappointment. You know, we finished 6th. Obviously, you know, failed to qualify for the Champions League. We've actually failed to qualify for the Champions League, you know, 3 times out of the 6 seasons, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement. But like I did say, probably Man United, you know, will give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, a bit more time, you know, to make further more investment. Like I said earlier on the video, you know, he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad. Because analysing, you know, the majority of this squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. But like I did say, the boards and that are more ruthless now than there was years ago. So I did say if this bad run of form, you know, does continue to persist until Christmas or maybe the new year, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, could be sacked as Manchester United manager. But obviously we don't want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sacked anywhere, because obviously, you know, we love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a lot, and, you know, we're not really known for the sacking club. Don't forget, like I did say to you, know, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. Obviously, you know, 3 managers have already been sacked, you know, since Alex Ferguson's retirement, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager, you know, since the Alex Ferguson era. But Solskjaer said early on this summer that he believes he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. But like I did say, regardless who our manager is, you know, we're never going to replicate what we did under Ferguson. You know, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy, and that's obviously, you know, something we've got to accept. And I did say at the start of the season, you know, our expectations this season, you know, will be to finish in that top 4, maybe add some silverware, because we've been lacking silverware as well in the last 6 years or so. And obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got to exceed these expectations, obviously, to remain in the job at Manchester United. I think also the pressure's already mounting up on him, you know, reflecting on our, you know, bad stuttering start to this season. Obviously we did bad in the last couple of months of last season, that, and it seems to be repeating that so far this season. But I did initially say our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons, because I think it's going to take us at least a couple of years, you know, to get us back, you know, where we do want to be. And I think it's going to take us at least 2, maybe 3 years, you know, to, you know, challenge for the league or win the league and that, because analysing our squad, you know, isn't good enough to win the league at the moment. But I do believe it's definitely, you know, good enough for a top 4 finish. But as I do keep saying, I think, you know, the dimension and the history of this football club, you know, we should be up there, you know, challenging and of course winning silverware. And Manchester United have not done this, you know, in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But Solskjaer, you know, did say, you know, he wants to bring that winning mentality back to the football club. He wants to bring that fear factor back to the football club, and that fear factor has not been there, you know, since the Alex Ferguson era. But I think the vast majority of pundits, and there's quite maybe a lot of Man United fans that have got doubts that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, will bring that fear factor back to Manchester United. This is what obviously some people believe, but, you know, we've got big ambitions for the future, and obviously those ambitions are to get us back, you know, to being competitive. Obviously want to get back to winning silverware, and this is obviously something Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would love to bring back to the football club, but I just don't know if he's the right man, you know, to do it. Like I did say, I'll credit him in the aspect that he did well when he was interim manager in that 3-month period last season, because like I said, you know, the results were good, the performances were good, you know, won our first 8 games, you know, we won 14 out of 19 in total in that 3-month period. Then it seems to me, you know, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the job permanently in March earlier on this year, you know, everything, you know, has just seemed to all gone wrong, basically. You know, I've criticised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer quite a lot of Man United fans have criticised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, with his, you know, tactically and that, you know, because he doesn't seem to be getting his tactics right. So some of the blame does stem from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but also some of the blame, you know, is on the team. You can't just obviously, you know, blame the manager. Like I did say in my recent videos, you know, maybe he does need time, Solskjaer, because don't forget, you know, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, you know, it took him 4 years to win anything, and obviously at that point, you know, he was on the verge of getting the sack, and then look what he went and achieved, Alex Ferguson. You know, we had 26, 27 successful years under him. Obviously, you know, we had a lot of great players under the Alex Ferguson era, and I did say I'm hopeful now this team at this day and age can replicate, you know, what the team did under Alex Ferguson, but I have got huge doubts about at the moment. But analysing our squad, I think it is a pretty decent squad, though. You know, don't forget, you know, we have got quite a lot of young players in there that are developing and, you know, trying to improve, as Gary Neville, you know, was recently, you know, speaking about. And don't forget, these are quite a few injuries as well. Like I said, Wan-Bissaka, of course, as it confirmed earlier on this week, he withdrew from the England squad, did Wan-Bissaka, with a back injury. It did reportedly say that he has returned to Old Trafford, as Wan-Bissaka. He's returned to Old Trafford. For treatment, and he will be monitored in the next day or two, to see if he's going to be fit enough, to play against Leicester. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka is our first choice right back. Is Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, we've got a few other full-backs, we've got a few backups. You've got Ashley Young, who's a backup. You've also got Diego Dalot, that's a backup. So hopefully, Wan-Bissaka's injury is not too severe. Diego Dalot's obviously, as you all know, being injured, but I think Diego Dalot, should be okay to play in the game against Leicester. I don't know what type of injury he's had, but I know he's been out of injury. Luke Shaw, as you all know, is out with hamstring injury. And we have got quite a few imperative players out with injury. Luke Shaw is a very, very imperative player. I think he's had a pretty average start this season before he sustained his injury. And I thought, on his I thought last season, he was really, really good. This is why, obviously, he won the double player of the season. But I think in the majority of his career with Manchester United, I think Luke Shaw's done really, really well. I think he's had bad times as a Manchester United player, and that obviously he had a, fallout, I think, back under the Jose Mourinho era, and he has sustained quite a few injuries in his Man United career as Luke Shaw. I think he sustained quite a few injuries, when he was a Southampton player, when he was younger. But obviously, he's our first choice left back, and he's very, very reliable on that left-hand side, is Luke Shaw. And I don't have a lot of trustworthy in our players at the moment, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. But Luke Shaw's out with a hamstring injury. He's out until early October, don't forget, so he will not be playing in the game against Leicester. Like I said, Anthony Martial, he's out with a thigh injury. I'm disappointed about that, because I think Anthony Martial's also had a fantastic start to this season. He scored a couple of goals and that. I think he's provided 1 or 2 assists. But Martial, I've set a tally for Anthony Martial this season. I think with the way he's playing so far, before he sustained this injury, I think he could score maybe from between 15 to 20 goals this season, Anthony Martial. I don't think his injury is that too severe, so possibly, could be involved in the game against Leicester. As it confirmed at the start of the season, Anthony Martial has been given that number 9 shirt. So obviously, he's playing more of a central this season, because he seems to be more effective in that central position. Obviously, that got proven, throughout pre-season. Anthony Martial, was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, but I still said at that point, I think he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. He's only 23 years of age. He's developing really, really well. He primarily plays out wide, but obviously now I think he looks more effective in that central position. Don't forget the club gave him a 5-year deal back in January, and in that aspect that was good business from the club. So obviously Martial's committed his long-term future with Man United. He has been subjected to quite a bit of transfer speculation in the past. Obviously, reports came out early on in the summer saying Solskjaer wanted him out. Obviously, reflected back under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, Mourinho wanted Anthony Martial out. But he's a very, very imperative player, and he scored 50 goals for Manchester United. He scored his 50th goal against Wolves early on in the season, and and I think now he's into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. Is Anthony Martial. He has been here since the Louis van Gaal era, but I'll also credit him that I thought he did really, really well in his debut season under Louis van Gaal era. He scored 17 goals for the club in his first season. Did Martial. So he's obviously been out with a thigh injury, but I don't think it's too severe, which is very, very good news. As you all know, Eric Bailly's out with injury. He's a long-term absence. He's out, I think, until the new year with a knee injury that he had sustained throughout pre-season. Fossil Mensah is a long-term absence. Lee Grant is out with injury. So we have got quite a few injuries in the team and that. So these are headaches for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Man United. Talking about Paul Pogba, as I did give you the update about Paul Pogba earlier on, obviously we do know that earlier on this week that Paul Pogba had withdrawn from the France squad following, he had sustained an ankle injury, in the 1-1 draw with Southampton last weekend. It did say earlier on this week, that Paul Pogba is set to undergo a scan, to investigate the extent of the damage, and hopefully his injury is not too severe. But I think according to TalkSport, it said Paul Pogba should be fit enough, to play against Leicester after the international break. But I updated you earlier on, big news has come out. I think it came out about Paul Pogba yesterday, should I say. It come out of numerous media outlets saying that reportedly Manchester United have made contact with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola. So Ed Woodward has made contact with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, over the possibility, of extending his contract. I think Paul Pogba, came out the other week and he actually said, did Paul Pogba, that he will reject any offers, to extend his contract contract with Manchester United. So obviously, Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his current contract with the football club, with an option to extend it by a further year. And obviously, Paul Pogba is our most expensive signing, who we paid £89 million for. He's also one of the highest paid players at the football club. I think he's just under £300,000 a week at the football club. Is Paul Pogba. So if he is to sign a new contract, obviously, he will probably demand a massive increase in his wages, and he will probably demand, to be the highest paid player at the football club. So an estimated guess, I think he'll probably, demand at least around 400 grand a week, maybe 500 grand a week, to sign a new contract with the football club. But we do know for the entirety of the summer, there was, Paul Pogba had been the long running transfer saga, and obviously he was relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid, but obviously his move to Real Madrid, of course, never materialised, and I still believe Paul Pogba's plans for the future is to make a move to Real Madrid, because don't forget, early on in the summer, Paul Pogba admitted that at some point in his career he wants to play for Real Madrid because he believes he'll represent Real Madrid well, and he did initially say he classified Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world. But I did say the stumbling block of Paul Pogba's move to Real Madrid this summer was obviously based on the substantial amount we put on him, because obviously we was adamant he wasn't for sale, but we did quote out that we wanted around £180 million. Obviously this, Real Madrid were not willing to pay up to the £180 million for Paul Pogba, so basically we was demanding just over double than what we initially paid for him from Juventus back in 2016, because we, like I said, we paid £89 million. The reports early on in the summer said we wanted around 150 or £160 million. With Real Madrid, obviously, they spent a substantial amount this summer. They must have spent around £300 million on players. They did sell some players, so they did generate some of that money back. Real Madrid recommended 5 new additions into their squad. But Zinedine Zidane and that will be infuriated, because obviously Zinedine Zidane throughout the course of summer identified Paul Pogba as his number one target. Real Madrid did everything they can to try and convince us to offload him. We was reluctant basically to offload Paul Pogba, because we do know how much of an imperative player he is. Also, Real Madrid had Christian Eriksen on their agenda, but I think Real Madrid's preference was Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen, even though probably Christian Eriksen would have been a cheaper solution. But like I said, throughout the course of summer, Paul Pogba's likely destination was Real Madrid, and his first choice preference was definitely Real Madrid. So I think we're keeping Paul Pogba at the football club at least until January. Until January, but I still think he will end up making his move to Real Madrid. Obviously, he can't leave at this moment in time, because obviously the European transfer window shut on the 2nd of September, which was obviously 4 days ago. But obviously, there was talks about him, possibly, making a return back to Turin earlier on this summer. Like I said, he had 4 good years in Turin with Juventus. Hasn't really, replicated this at Manchester United, to be quite honest with you. But Paul Pogba confirmed back in June, that he wanted to leave Manchester United, obviously to rejuvenate his career. And, he did say, he was seeking for a new challenge. He did say, he was seeking for a new challenge now, Paul Pogba. But I did say the couple of main factor reasons why he wanted to leave the football club, and still wants to leave the football club, because maybe he feels as though he isn't playing amongst better players, maybe he's frustrated with a lack of competitiveness, maybe he wants to be in Champions League football and that. So I did say these are the reasons why he probably, wants to leave Manchester United. Like I did say, though, it hasn't only been this summer, he's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, there was a lot of talks about Paul Pogba leaving the football club, obviously based on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. And I think, Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, when Jose Mourinho departed the football club. And we have seen glimpses of Paul Pogba, of how good he can be at Manchester United. I think he's been mainly inconsistent, but I think he's had a pretty decent start to this season. Prior to his performance against Southampton, I think his performance was below par against Southampton, played a lot of sloppy passes, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was saying. Obviously, he missed a penalty against Wolves, and obviously, Paul Pogba received a lot of criticism for that. He was subjected to online racial abuse, and I did say I'll credit him in that aspect. I thought Paul Pogba, handled that certain situation well. But apart from that, I think he's had a pretty decent start to the season. season. He's started all 4 games so far this season, has not yet scored, but I think he provided a couple of assists on the first game of the season against Chelsea. But when Paul Pogba's at his best, he's like 2 players in 1. He's good at feeding the attackers, and I think he expressed himself well. I think you mainly see the best of Paul Pogba when he's 3'd up, and I thought his stats were very impressive last season. He scored 16 goals, provided 11 assists in 47 games for the football club in all competitions. Paul Pogba has won the Europa League and League Cup with us. Obviously, that came in his second season with Manchester United. But recently again, Paul Pogba's brother Mathias, he's had his overarching view on the situation regarding his brother, and he said, he will now be focusing on the season with Manchester United. And obviously, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola, he said at the start of pre-season that Paul Pogba was in the process of leaving the football club, but he'd been working on getting his transfer to Real Madrid anyway, completed, basically for the entirety of the summer. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, knows how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is, because Solskjaer has spoken a lot about Paul Pogba early on this summer. He also spoken to Paul Pogba, because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows him well anyway. Even before he came into the job, at Man United, he knew him quite well, because obviously, Solskjaer managed the Manchester United reserve team for a couple of years when he was younger, and he watched some of this team at this day and age now grow and develop, and of course, one of them players was Paul Pogba. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, he wanted to keep him at the football club. Recent reports did say that Solskjaer, was open, to selling Paul Pogba, throughout the course of the summer. But I am glad, that he's remained at the football club for now, because if he had left the football club, then, would been even, the midfield had looked even worse, than it is now, because you do know when Paul Pogba's at his best, he makes that difference in that midfield, and we haven't really got a backup to him anywhere, to be quite honest. I know we've got the likes of McTominay. To be fair, I'll credit McTominay. I think he's had a good start to this season, Scott McTominay. I still don't know if he's a long-term solution for Manchester United, so I've got quite a lot of concerns about that. But I think when he's on form, he plays between the lines well. He holds, his defensive abilities and that are really good. And he's still young and he's developing really well. And the thoughts I've got about McTominay, I've got the same thoughts about, regarding Fred and Pereira. We have seen glimpses of how good they are. My thoughts on Fred is that, he was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk, was Fred, but he hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. Fred did well towards the back end of last season, but hasn't, I think throughout pre-season as well, I thought he was quite good in the games, that he did participate in. I don't think he's yet, played so far this season, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did say, you expect to see better things from Fred this season. But I think Fred's a much better solution and much better option than Matic. When the man Matic, he's too slow, he's too inconsistent, and when he does play, he makes that midfield look totally imbalanced. So very inconsistent player indeed is Matic. With Pereira, I've got the same thoughts of what I've just said about McTominay and Fred, and we've got other midfielders. Don't forget, we've got Angel Gomez in there. I'm surprised Angel Gomez, didn't play against Southampton, because it did initially say, he was supposed to be a big part of the squad this season. Angel Gomez. Obviously, you've got Jimmy Garner as well. He hasn't been given the chance so far this season. I think he did play in a couple of games throughout pre-season. Did Jimmy Garner? I think he scored against Perth Glory on the first game in pre-season. But like I did say, we have got quite a lot of young upcoming players in the team and that. And I did say I think they'll become a fruition this season. The young players, I thought the young players that played throughout pre-season, were a fruition in that. But I do believe, they should get given their opportunities in that. Obviously, my thoughts about Mason Greenwood is I think, he definitely, will do well at Manchester United. But I think, after the international break, he needs to start the game against Leicester, does Mason Greenwood. He has to start against Leicester, does Mason Greenwood. He has not yet started a game from the start this season. He's made 4 substitute appearances, but Mason Greenwood, needs to get given the chance against Leicester from the start, basically. He's only 17 years of age. He did really well for the reserves last season, scored 30 goals in 29 games, and he did well throughout pre-season. And, he's only 17 years of age, and he needs to play more, to gain more experience, but pre-season, gained in more experience, so that was good in that aspect. With Chong, obviously with Chong, I think he should get given his opportunities this season. Chong is a winger. I think there was recent reports saying that he had rejected a loan move away from Manchester United. I think PSV and Feyenoord inquired about getting, Chong on loan. But I still say he's the long-term solution for Man United, and I think, he did well throughout pre-season, but he's not yet, I don't think he's yet, being given the chance this season. But yeah, we've got quite a lot of young upcoming players and that in the squad. We've also got a lot of aging up players. There's quite a lot of fringe players in the squad. But yeah, so definitely no further more investment is needed in the January transfer window. But, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival now, quite a lot of players have departed Manchester United. Obviously, was Antonio Valencia, leave at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, we saw Chris Smalling leave the football club. He's gone out on loan to Roma, as that got confirmed the other week. Roma paid around 2.7 million, to take him out on loan. Don't forget, it's without a buyout option, or there's no obligation, to buy for Roma to make the deal permanent next summer. But Chris Smalling's left the football club, and I'm glad we got rid of Smalling. But despite, Chris Smalling going out on loan to Roma, we have still got 6 centre-backs in the team. We've got, obviously, Lindelof and Harry Maguire that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre-backs, where Harry Maguire is the best option than what we've got in our backline at the moment. You've got Lindelof. Obviously, with Victor Lindelof, as I do keep saying, these question marks around him, can he keep the consistency up at Manchester United? And I believe he can. I know he's been a bit below par in his last couple of games. He's now into his 3rd season as a Man United player, but he's developing really, really well. He's Victor Lindelof, and I think he will. He's flourishing at Manchester United. We've got Marcus Rojo. We know now he's staying now at the football club. I don't know. Maybe he may leave in January, may leave next summer, but he's staying at this present time, is Marcus Rojo, because actually Solskjaer confirmed, prior to the Southampton game, that Rojo was going to be staying at the football club, even though Everton had inquired about getting him on deadline day. Marcelo Monaco and AC Milan also inquired about getting Rojo. Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Man United. Obviously, he's been here. I think this is now his 5th season at Manchester United. Rojo played throughout pre-season. He has not yet played in the Premier League this season, but he isn't first choice anywhere. I think it's good in the aspects that his versatility. He's versatile. He's Marcus Rojo. He's predominantly a centre back, but can also play on the left. He can play as a wing back, so his versatility, and that's very, very good. I'm surprised Rojo didn't get the chance against Southampton, because he could have done. But he served his 2 requirements in Man United, and obviously Rojo has sustained a lot of injuries as well as a Manchester United player. Jones is still at the football club. He's been here 8 years as Phil Jones. He's been here since the Alex Ferguson era as Phil Jones. Obviously now he's into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. Don't forget, he got given a new long-term contract last season, did Phil Jones, but he's no longer good enough to represent the football club. So I think perhaps we'll maybe need to get rid of him in January, or orchestrate on getting rid of him next summer. So he's another player for me that needs to leave the football club. Also, we've got Alex Tuanzebe in our backline. I think we're orchestrating on keeping him for this season, because I think it did say he was going to be a big part of the squad this season, Tuanzebe. Tuanzebe did well on his loan spell with Aston Villa last season. And I do believe if he gets given the chance this season, he can replicate, what he did with Aston Villa last season. But I did say to we've had quite a lot of long-serving players at the football club. There's still long-serving players here now. You've got Ashley Young, of course, that's been at Manchester United, 8 years. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player. I think with Ashley Young, obviously he was our first choice right back last season, but obviously now with the signing of Wan-Bissaka, obviously he's our first choice right back. So like I said earlier on in the video, Ashley Young's there for the backup. Obviously Ashley Young was the captain against Southampton. Obviously he was playing at left back. He's predominantly right back, Young, but he can play in other positions as well, so he's versatile. But Young, I think now this should be his last season with Man United. I think he should actually retire from football at the end of the season. Obviously he's 34 years of age now. He's 30. I think he's 34 years of age. So obviously Ashley Young is aging up. He got given a new 1-year extension last season. Don't forget, like I just said with Jones, he's been a long servant here. David De Gea's been a long servant here. Now he's into his 9th season at Manchester United. You got Juan Mata, he's now into his 6th season as a Manchester United player. Martial's into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. Rashford's been a United player since the age of 7. So we've got quite a lot of long-serving players in the squad, quite a few. We've had long-serving players that have obviously now left Man United. Don't forget. Like I said. So Smalling left the football club. Darmian, of course, that got confirmed early on this week. He left Man United. We let him go for just over £3 million. He's gone to Parma. He's signed a 4-year deal. He's made the return back to Italy. I think that'll be beneficial for Darmian's career, because he enjoyed a difficult 4 years with Manchester United. Never really got given the opportunity. Herrera left. I think that could have been a mistake from Manchester United getting rid of Herrera, especially letting him go on a free transfer as well. That was bad business in the football club, because you can quite arguably say under Herrera was one of our best players, since Alex Ferguson's retirement, or maybe the second best player. It was a shame we didn't recruit a replacement for him. Fellaini left, like I said. Lukaku left a couple of weeks ago. Maybe a lot of United fans were saying we should have got a replacement for him, but Solskjaer confirmed at the start of the season why we didn't get that replacement for Lukaku, obviously to prioritise the development of Mason Greenwood. But I'm glad, the money that we did get for Lukaku's departure, we did generate a substantial amount for the floor, and we initially recouped the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago. Obviously Sanchez Sanchez went out on loan, you know, to Inter Milan. It was good that we also got rid of him. I did say the only way we would have got rid of Sanchez is putting him out on loan, because I did say, reflecting on his substantial wages, you know, it was going to be extremely hard for us to get rid of him permanently. Don't forget, Inter Milan, I've got him on loan. It's without a buyout option. There's no obligation to buy for Inter Milan to make the deal permanent next summer. Obviously, he's a 10-month loan deal for Sanchez Inter Milan. Inter Milan have paid some of his wages. I think they're willing to pay about 4.5 million of his 21 million annual salary. But I still believe, you know, we're still paying the majority of his wages. So I think we're still giving him 300 grand a week, despite that he's on loan with Inter Milan. So you can still say he's the second highest paid player at Manchester United, is Sanchez. But I still believe, you know, more players, you know, definitely, you know, do need to leave the football club without a shadow of a doubt. Without shadow of a doubt. But like I did say, a hell of a lot of money has been spent at the football club this summer, you know, £148 million. It's something like that. Anyway, it's definitely over £140 million. Obviously, just under £400 million, you know, was spent under the Jose Mourinho era. He recommended 11 players into the football club. There's still 10 of those players here now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, is inheriting. Don't forget. And I told you the reasons, you know, why it didn't work out under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, you know, he had bad disputes with the board. He had bad disputes with the players. You know, the board went back in the signings that he wanted to recommend into the football club last summer. So this is why it didn't, you know, work out under Jose Mourinho. You know, he had his tenure. He had, I think, a 2.5-year tenure at the football club. You know, won the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season with Manchester United. Did Mourinho, and, you know, he got a lot of criticism as well, because you know, it was part of the bus football. You know, the football was turgid. You know, you know, there was no sort of winning philosophy under Mourinho, so it didn't work out under him. Maybe, again, we appointed him in too late. Obviously, under Louis van Gaal, you know, just over £200 million was spent under him. There's still some of them players here now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's inheriting. So Martial's still here from the Van Gaal era, Luke Shaw's still here from the Van Gaal era. So I think the vast majority of players that Van Gaal brought in have now left the football club anywhere. And just under £67 million was spent under David Moyes. He brought Fellaini and Juan Mata in, and Mata's still here now. So yeah, it's just under £1 billion that's been spent in the last 6 years at the football club. That's a hell of a lot of money. So it just proves always spending big on players and getting them Galactico players doesn't always guarantee you success. And that's been proven with Manchester United in the last 6 or 7 years. But I give you my overall analysis on it anyway. I did say I don't like the way the football club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. But I'm hopeful that it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. You know, he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. There's a concern. I've also got a concern and element about Solskjaer regarding his, you know, managerial experience. You know, he hasn't really got the experience of a manager, not to the highest level, and that's something else that does concern me. You know, he did well with Mold. You know, he won a couple of Norwegian titles, you know, when he was there with Mold and that. You know, he only had a short tenure with Cardiff. Didn't really work out for him at Cardiff. But, you know, I'll back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way. And another good thing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players, which is very, very good to see, which I'm happy about. Which I'm very, very happy about it. But you can still say he's in the process of rebuilding. Now, I think, you know, another disappointing thing was, you know, earlier on in the summer, you know, that obviously, you know, we didn't get a sporting director in, because, you know, for the majority of the summer, you know, we was in search for a sporting director, and I did say at that point, I was giving you updates on that, you know, we needed a structural change at the club. We needed to get a director of football in at the time, and, you know, quite a few names was mentioned who could have taken that, you know, director's role, and I did say it would have been beneficial for someone to come in who knows the traditions of the club, someone who knows the club inside out and that. And there was quite a few names mentioned, but obviously, you know, we didn't get that sporting director in, so obviously we just let Ed Woodward, you know, obviously our transfer business, you know, for the summer and that. But a lot of Man United fans, you know, have been criticising Ed Woodward. You know, they've also been criticising the Glazers and that, and they've actually, you know, been demanding, you know, they've been demanding them out at the football club and that. But I think, you know, regardless of what happens this season, maybe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be safe for this season. Because the board did actually say at the start of the season that, you know, they come to terms and they realised that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, you know, throughout the course this summer. So I think they did actually assure he would have been backed this summer, but wasn't backed enough. So I think he should be backed in January. Maybe should be perhaps, you know, back to next summer, such Solskjaer. But yeah, maybe we should give him a bit more time. But I said if this bad run of form does continue to persist, you know, we won't put up with it because, like I said, you know, with the size of this club and that, you know, we should be, you know, in a more commanding position, you know, than we're in now, to be quite honest with you, because, you know, we are still the most successful team in England historically. You know, we've won 13 Premier League, you know, 20 all in all. So yeah, and like I said, you know, we haven't won the Premier League, you know, since 2013. Obviously, you know, that came in Alex Ferguson's last season. You can quite frankly say that season, Robin van Persie won us the league, you know, reflecting on the amount of goals and that he scored. Don't forget, you know, we've had great achievements as a football club. You know, obviously, you know, winning 20 titles, that's a great achievement. You know, obviously, you know, winning 3 back-to-back titles back in 07, 08 and 09, that was a great achievement. One of the club's greatest achievements though was back in 1999 when won the treble. Obviously that was one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moments as a player. But obviously, you know, City, you know, matched that achievement last season because they won. Well, it wasn't the same treble, but they still won an English domestic treble. City did make history last season. They did make history last season. I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all the way in that, and I'm hopefully, you know, just can get Manchester United, you know, back to where they do want to be. But like I did say, after the international break, you know, it's going to be a difficult game against Leicester. Very, very difficult game indeed, even though we've got mainly a good winning record over them. Obviously, you know, Leicester have started their season pretty well. You know, they've registered 8 points from a possible 12 in their last 4 league games. So they've won 2 and drawn 2. They've won the last 3 games in all competitions. So Leicester's going to be a pretty difficult encounter. And, you know, Leicester did pretty good business, you know, this summer. You know, I think they spent around £90 million, was it? You know, they got Yara Tillemans in. Obviously, that was a club record fee. They paid for him for £40 million. They got him from Monaco. Well, he was initially on loan from. He was on loan with Leicester anywhere from January till, you know, earlier on this summer. Then obviously returned to Monaco. Obviously Leicester got him permanently for £40 million. They got James Justin, I think, for £6 million from Luton. They got him. I think they also got Dennis Pryor from Sampdoria. I think they paid around £20 million for him. And they got Perez in from Newcastle, so they spent around £90 million, something like that, did Leicester, so they did do good business. Obviously they lost Harry Maguire, don't forget. But Leicester will be a very, very difficult game indeed. But yeah, that's mainly everything to update you. I've already given you the latest news about De Gea, haven't I, on my recent videos. So yeah, that's mainly it. So just wanted to give you an update, you know, about who do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's next signings will be. You know, he brought 3 good players in this summer who have done really, really well so far for Manchester United. But we do know that further more investment is needed without a shadow of a doubt. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel, and if you do consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.